Yeah. Well, I mean, his knowledge, I'm sure, also supersedes that particular arena as well. But yeah, not all gangster rappers really display their intellect like that, or are even able to capitalize on it.
Because what made me really appreciate 50, I guess, is when he started doing the vitamin water and the headphone stuff, right? But before that, I actually detested him, really. To tell you the truth. I actually detested him, to tell you the truth. But when I started seeing him in interviews now, he was just so smart. I mean, like, compared to any other artist I've seen in an interview, he would speak like he knows what he's talking about with the things that he's talking about. You know, no cliche answers. Like you just hear the strategy behind his thoughts.
Yeah, he's actually given some time to these subjects and thought about them before saying anything, as opposed to like your usual regurgitate media cycle.
Yes.
You know, generic rapper answers.
And then I actually then I became a fan. I'm like, yo, this guy's sick. Like, I love listening to him speak. Because the way he speaks, articulates himself, it's not that of his image. You know, like his image.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean that could just go to show that maybe his image is a byproduct of his intellect. You know, like
I think he understood the climate of the music world, like the commercial music world he was entering, and how to leverage his story by creating optics in a certain brand. But because he, you know, kind of ballooned and blew up out of that lane, eventually all of these other aspects of him were going to be, you know, in the limelight as well. So I think that's why it's like, oh, you know, for someone who makes songs about drinking and smoking, you sure don't really give off the vibe of someone who's drinking and smoking. Or even, you know, even just when, like the vitamin water, when he talks about like being on tour and stuff like that, and, you know, seeing opportunity and being like solution based and stuff like that. Like, it's funny. I always wonder what people like that would be if they didn't sell drugs and rap. If they went to an Ivy League school, or if they, you know, got an intern at like a biology lab as a teenager.
Right.
Like I always wonder about stuff like that. Because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, music is merely one of the things that he does. So it's like, what if he was given access or tools to do a different set of 20 different things? You know, what type of person would he be like?
And like his tour right now, I feel like it's constantly being sold out. And I feel it's all about his ability to market it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a combination of the music has stood the test of time as far as, you know, he has real fans, but also he was able to grow the brand and the image without necessarily dropping a bunch of music, or even music as successful since like the Get Rich or Die Trying days. Because even like just working at Scotiabank, like for all the different types of shows, you get exposed to different.
You work at Scotiabank?
Yeah. I started working there about 6 months ago.
Oh, okay.
And what's interesting is you really start to see what longevity looks like, because it's not. It doesn't matter what genre or what decade you're in.
Yeah.
Longevity takes very clear shapes. Like there's a few different shapes. There's like, okay, you're a generational act that has their core fan base that has grown up with you, or you're an artist that is timeless, so every generation discovers you, kind of thing. Like I remember working the Lionel Richie concert, and it was one of those, like, I know a lot of Lionel Richie songs, but seeing him perform and realizing, oh, I know even more Lionel Richie songs than I think I know, is one of those, like, this man had hits like for a very long time, as much as he had like a period where he was like on fire. It's just like, whereas with like someone like Blink-182, again, multi-generational fan base and stuff like that, but there was clearly certain songs that were from a particular, you know, time period of their career that like really had an impact on a lot of people, whether they were there or not. Whereas with Lionel Richie, it just felt like kind of like the way it's like Drake has a hit every year for a decade kind of thing. You know, and it's like just to see
Okay,
that. That's
yes.
so interesting.
Okay, I see
You
what
know,
you're
like-
saying now when you say it. Yeah.
Like with Lionel Richie, it's like, what do you call it? Hello, is it me you're looking for?
Mhm.
He started the concert with that, him coming out of the stage, and I'm like, that's such a like mega like
Yeah.
for some artists that's as big as a song they'll have,
Right.
but he's coming out the gate doing that.
Opening that. Yeah.
I'm like that is crazy. I'm like, but again, like 2 songs later, it's just like, oh my gosh, I forgot Lionel Richie has this song. I forgot he has this song. I forgot, and it was just, and it was just a busy night. Like, you know, old people, young people, like. So I always think that is interesting. So I'm curious to see what the 50 Cent crowd's gonna be like, because I know that, you know, I was like a preteen when his music came out, and that led to me listening to his albums and watching the movies, and like, you know, now watching all the Powerverse shows and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you know, what was it like for people that were actually in clubs when the club came out? You know, how much of that demographic is gonna come to this
Right.
show, or people younger than me, you know, do they even care? So,
Right.
but again, the fact that he's selling out means there's clearly a strong following. So I'm just curious.
Because his social media has me compelled to like somewhat feel like, hey man, I wouldn't mind going, you know?
Yeah, his social media is funny because he says things that, you know, kind of feels like sometimes everyone is thinking out loud, but a famous person wouldn't necessarily say that.
Right.
But he's like found a way to like incorporate that tone in his branding, where, you know, he might kind of color out of the lines that a lot of celebrities kind of have to abide by, but there's like it's just 50 Cent being 50 Cent kind
Right.
of accepted, you know, context around it. So I'm like, that's like ridiculous.
Well, that's a very strong part of his social media personality for sure.
Oh man.
What I was getting at was actually just him showing clips and highlighting scenes from his show.
Oh, I think if anything that is like how it's almost been like a self-fulfilling thing, because I want to say when the tour was announced there was only the date in July, and then by the time you got to get close to the July date they announced the September one, and then I want to say a few weeks ago I'm pretty sure he's also performing tomorrow at another venue.
Really?
Yeah, I think at Rebel. So it's like, I think the momentum of I'm going on tour to look at how good the tour is,
Right.
is like self-perpetuating people that were on the fence of like, what am I doing? I do want to see 50 Cent. I'm not gonna get another chance. I should. So clearly they're able to tap into like a healthy relationship with supply and demand and kind of add stuff as they go. But that's just, again, good business, right? Because I feel like right now a big narrative that we're seeing with a lot of hip hop acts is they're actually not selling as well as far as tickets for tours,
Right.
and they're canceling a lot of dates. Like I follow certain things on Twitter, and it's like the amount of artists where it's like before the summer they announced like 100 dates, and then partway through the summer or even as the fall happens, suddenly they're not doing 20, 30 of those shows. And you can tell it's in cities where they didn't hit certain margins. So it's like you'll actually lose money by trying to do those shows, whereas if you just adjust and shave off some dates, it might be a more, you know, optimize your profits. Whereas with 50, I'm seeing like the literal opposite. Like,
He's growing.
yeah, and I'm like, that's interesting.
I guess it's because he's got this marketing thing down like pat, you know, like he just knows like this is what needs to be done to generate interest.
Yeah, and the other thing too is he actually sold records, and
Yes.
I think a big problem in today's day and age is we look at streaming numbers like they're selling records,
Right.
when 1,500 units is the equivalent to an album.
Right.
So 4 million streams is not 4 million records,
Right.
right? And 50 Cent is sold, I'm pretty sure.
Because you could have streamed one song 400 times yourself.
Exactly,
Doesn't
and,
mean-
and just because of the way the pay structure and like all of that breaks down, it doesn't actually, like it's not the same investment in the artist,
Right.
like in a tangible, like economic way. So I feel like you have to do like so much more from a streaming standpoint for it to reflect in your like show. And then also like again like what's the quality of these live shows, you know, in terms of like the art of an MC when they're performing versus what's the bare minimum accepted now for a lot of rappers. It's like, oh, I can go on stage and just rap over my song playing tracks. I actually don't have breath control or a voice on stage, and I'm not really performing my songs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm much more akin to like a lip syncing like pop star.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I do think those things also hurt the whole live show relationship with fans. And then also like, I don't know, I think the average person doesn't care as much as they used to. Like there's still definitely like super fans out there,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's more of a counterculture with younger kids than it is like the average kid that likes an artist or a song or an album. They're less invested in like an experience and like celebrity worship in the same way.
Time the show start tonight.
That is a good question. I should double check that. I just know some people are saying, "Come meet me in the parking lot early."
Okay.
Almost like a tailgate.
ACC, you say?
This is actually at Budweiser stage, so
Budweiser.
so it'll be outdoors.
Oh yeah, you can tailgate at Budweiser.
Yeah, but again, I think 50 Cent's smart with picking his venues. I'm just hoping the weather holds up and it's not too cold, because this is that time of the year where it's like, you know, I maybe have a handful of outdoor activities left in me.
Oh, just bring your jacket, man.
Yeah.
Sure, there's gonna be women there in tank tops.
Oh, absolutely. There's certain I'm going out outfits. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. I find their way to make an appearance.
Oh, for sure. I remember Vince Carter used to have a birthday party at Atlantis every year. All right, we're going back. I'm saying Vince Carter.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, man introduced bottle service to the city, right? So
He used to have a birthday party at Atlantis every year. His birthday's in January. All right, and when Vince Carter's birthday party is happening, all the girls come out. All the girls. And they're at Atlantis, which is where Budweiser stage is. Right?
So it's even colder
so
down
we're on the
there.
lake, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, I'll tell you how cold it is. Luckily, my friend that I used to go with, he's kind of in cahoots with the industry, right? So, you know, when we go we park up right by the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's we don't have to wait in the line. We just wait in the car until it's time. But if you see the line, bro, the line of majority women, and it's
Crazy.
freezing. We're in the car freezing. We're in the car freezing.
And they're just out there determined.
Out there with open-toe shoes and no jacket, because they don't
want to coat check. Oh my gosh.
Shorts. Oh my, bro. I'm in the car with my big jacket. I'm freezing.
Facts.
Women don't care, but they just, as long as they look good.
Not me.
As long as they look good. I mean, I love to see it, but it's not until later in life. I guess, you know, you go to parties and now the women are maturing and getting older. As I'm getting older, women are getting older. So now women are coming to the club in their jogging pants.
Mm-hmm. Everybody just wants to be cozy at the end of the day.
They come to the club in their jogging pants, pull off their pants, and now they're in their outfit. And then they take their jogging pants and like put it in their handbag or something, That's when you get old now.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, I'm gonna be sexy, but I ain't gonna be sexy in the line.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you're a smart girl. Clever. Yeah, the first time I went to Budweiser stage was I got to see the Up in Smoke tour.
Mm.
That was another monumental moment for me. That was like a dream come true because that was my shit right there. Dr. Dre, Aftermath, all that West Coast stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's my vibe. That's my lane. And when they came to Canada, I couldn't believe it. I never thought they would ever come.
Yeah.
And all of them came.
Especially back then.
Yeah. That was awesome. Everybody came. Nate Dogg, Warren G, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Dub C. I think the Twins were even there. The Twins were a group that were under Warren G's production label.
Mm.
That was a concert. How much tickets go for?
Phew, I don't know. I also got like a slight deal through MLSC. I want to say like mine was like 150.
Okay.
So still a decent coin, but I know we're in a terrible era right now for cost of shows. Like I remember I was debating if I wanted to go to the Drake concert or just work it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing tickets, $400 or $500.
That's what?
And then his album was supposed to come out today, but he pushed it to October 6th because it's not done yet or whatever. But conveniently, that's also the day that he's playing Toronto. So ticket prices went up for the Toronto show as well, like because that was just resale, right? Yeah. So I'm seeing now people are saying like, cheapest tickets are like $500-600, and I'm like, that's just
How is that possible?
it's like I understand inflation, but I guess I don't understand inflation because like what? Like
That's resale, right?
yeah, but the problem is Ticketmaster allowing resale, right? Because now you have people once tickets go on sale, they buy a block, and then they immediately put it on resale. So the majority of people going to concerts, or at least a strong percentage of them, are buying resale tickets. Kind of like how the whole sneaker game is messed up, right? Guys have bots, so it's not someone who bought the shoe for themselves, or they're buying it with intent to sell off of the hype and inflate the price. So it's not even like the artist is seeing that money either, right? So it's just
Are the sneaker companies and the concert companies, are they in cahoots with that? Do you think they
oh, I think they're absolutely in cahoots.
You think they buy and resell?
I wouldn't be surprised. And then even I remember during we'll say around 2021, there would be a lot of big artists announcing tours, and it was still COVID, and then day of canceling because for whatever reason, personal reason, not feeling well, but stadium level tours, right? So imagine people pay the ticket, they take the train, they get the hotel room, they're in the city, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then 3 hours before, you're taking your shower to get ready to go, you find out it's not happening. I feel like that was an insurance grab, because there's definitely some health-related reasons where you can cancel,
Mm-hmm.
and insurance would have to take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you know that it's not safe, or you feel it's not safe because of the climate during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I just felt like that was a trend that like, just so many big artists where it was like day of cancellations. I'm like, that's so interesting. But then I just thought about insurance and like, you know, how fearful everyone was during those days still. So I definitely think there's, you know, more than one way to turn a profit off of these live shows, and the pandemic has definitely opened up the door, and just like the whole bots and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
to how people have gotten creative with ways to make money off of it. You know, not to say that canceled shows don't happen, but there's just like a consistency of like the timing of it.
Good afternoon, Couture. No, there's nothing available right now. No. Okay, thank you for calling.
You hear about Beyonce's big homecoming show?
No, what's that?
So obviously she's on tour right now.
Yeah.
And I think the last stop is Houston, or
Okay.
the next big one that's coming up. Apparently there's gonna be like a couple hundred drones, like to film new angles. Meg Thee Stallion's gonna perform. Destiny's Child's gonna perform.
Did you say a couple hundred drones?
This is one of those, like, I almost want to like see if I can find it and look it up, because I remember reading something like 400 drones coordinated for like. It was one of those things where it's like everyone that was, you know, in the comments is just like, oh, I just canceled my ticket, I just resold my ticket, or I blah blah blah, or I chose to go to the Dallas show instead. What was I thinking? But like this Houston I'm back in my city show is gonna. This is where it's one of those things where it's like, again, why you use the entire tour to perfect the show,
Mm-hmm.
and then you record one of them, and then you release it as a live product in
Yeah.
a year or something. Or not, you
Yeah.
can sell it, you know, whether
Yeah.
Amazon Prime, or she has a relationship with Disney. So it's like, how do you elevate the show performance that already people are raving about? You go all out for one of them, and you make sure you got all your reps in, and you basically make a movie.
So like a comedian.
Exactly. A stand-up special is usually done after the guy is on the road for 6 months and has really tried the joke in different demographics, different size rooms. Now he knows when to wait, when to dig into it, when to slow down the pace, when to speed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's told this, because he's told the same joke 50 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like. So I'm just, yeah. So that just reeks of Beyonce's making a movie of the show, because. Holy crow. But it sounds like it's gonna be, you know, just ridiculous.
Mm. Yeah, I remember when she announced the tour initially, and everybody was like up in arms about the price of this tour.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was up in arms, and then when the tour started, I'm like, everybody was going. I'm like, wait, I thought you were complaining about the price.
Man, I'm seeing people going to people's like college funds for their baby daddies and like, just, you know, like,
Yeah.
what would you do to go see Beyonce? You know, like. But you know, if there's anything this internet culture's taught me, is the same people that are complaining are the same people that are first in line to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your hater is actually your biggest supporter.
Yeah.
And the hate is really just their unhealthy relationship with them with their emotions towards you. Like it's just everything all at once, and it's coming out in like a toxic way. Like, yeah, adults are a lot more similar to like a 7-year-old than we realize, especially online.
Especially online. Do you use torrent sites?
Not like I used to, but I've been debating getting back into it. Just because, I don't know, like I've been thinking about just like as a hobby DJing, like for myself for fun in my room. I have all the equipment.
Okay.
But the big thing is I've been streaming everything for the last how many years. But it's like I would want to have the actual MP3s of the files. So I've been looking at kind of where's the torrent world gone in recent years and what are people doing. But I used to torrent everything. Like I have like hard drives upon hard drives of music. You know, if the internet were to shut down, I still have a crazy amount of music. Like, yeah, I've some music I have that's not even on streaming sites. You know, certain things just because it never made it to those platforms. So I know I'm good there. But as far as newer music, I'm starting to realize there's a gap. Like you can almost see my collection stops up to a certain year. You can tell I just stopped downloading music.
How about programs? You ever used to download programs from torrents?
Yes, but what I started doing, just because you have a few bad experiences, you get a little sketched out. So what I started doing was, and also just generational wise, and the type of friends I had, I would just be able to kind of outsource and see, do I know someone who's already downloaded a good copy of this program before I try and even go find it? Because then they can direct me to a good download, or they can just give me the program themselves.
Right.
So like even with like different digital like production like software stuff, it's like I remember one time there was like this $800 synth I was gonna buy. Like I was gonna, like a digital synthesizer, just has crazy sounds. Everything. I remember like it was the week that I was gonna buy it. After mulling it over for like a month, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I just popped up at a session with one of my boys, and I kind of vented to him like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy so and so. And he's like, don't. I'll give it to you right now. And I'm just like, what? And then in my head I'm like, there's no way this thing's gonna work. And he's like, you just like, I have a MacBook. He's like, you just need to run this other program on a PC. It's gonna spit out this type of coding information, and then when you go to install it on your MacBook, swap this code information, and then it will work completely fine. And I'm just been like, there's no way that, you know, bootlegging is this sophisticated and this easy. You know, that was maybe 8 years ago. I still use that program to this day, and I'm just like, that's crazy. Like it's even gotten to the point where it's like younger like producers that like I maybe mentored. It's at a point where they're downloading and getting crazy stuff. So we're just talking. It's like, hey, have you heard of this? Have you heard of this? And we're like, oh yeah, we have all of those here. It's in this folder. Yeah, take this zip. So I've definitely saved thousands of dollars, and I know all that stuff is torrented. So the stuff is out there. And then also now there's so many like free programs too that it's like a lot of times it's like less about I'm trying to get this program and more about the program that you're getting. What are you trying to do with it? Because it might be something that's free that can do that same function for you.
I remember having to get the key generators.
Yep. Oh man.
The key gens. Who's the most mind-blowing sax player in the city?
In the city?
Yeah.
That is a good question. I don't know. We kind of have like a lot of the cream of the crop in the city. We have a lot of really good players. I have to think about that.
Afternoon Couture. Oh, good. Yep. There's nothing yet, but if anything pops up, I'll give you a shout. What's your name? Stack? Okay, yeah, if anything pops up, I'll give you a shout back at this number. All right, cool. All right, bye-bye. You said cream of the crop in the city?
I mean, like I would like when I think about who are like the best sax players in the country, like most of them live in Toronto. Like Kelly Jefferson, Mike Murley, like these are like jazz guys, you know, like. But they also teach at the universities as well, so I think that's kind of also what kind of keeps them rooted in the city. But then as I'm getting older, you know, guys that I've known since I was like, or known of since I was like 14 to 18, you know, they're also coming into their own, and it's like there's one guy that his name is Rob Christian, he's like from Unionville, and he was like crazy good when we were like 16, but he's like in his mid 30s now. So I know he's crazy, but there's also what people choose to play versus like what's in their bag. Like I always talk about kids today don't know how well-rounded player Ray Allen was because they only reference his Boston or Miami. They just think he's gonna shoot threes. But like I remember in my mind, like that guy was dunking on so many people. Like he can do so many other crazy things, right? So I feel like there's a lot of those types of choices that people make where I'm just like, man, if this guy was challenged to make like a very ambitious contemporary jazz album, or just do whatever they want, not have to worry about money or marketing or all that kind of stuff, what kind of music would they make? It would be ridiculous. So I feel like there's a lot of those kind of guys that are just very content doing whatever it is, staying in their lanes or just stuff. But
you already know, like
I'm just like,
you know who he is and you know what he's able to do.
Yeah, so there's like guys like that. There's another guy named Patrick Smith that I really have a lot of respect for, like really, really good jazz player. But like again, like he's only getting better, and he's still like if an athlete, like if an NBA player hits their prime 27 to 32, I would say a jazz musician, like the equivalent of like you finally getting your first all-star like level, that doesn't start until like your late 30s, early 40s. So there's a lot of people where I'm like, if they stay the course at the rate they're going, like they haven't even really stepped into mastery of themselves. And which is scary to think, because it's like they've been playing for 10, 20 years already. But yeah, I feel like there's so many guys. And like, yeah, every year someone new moves to the city. But the other
So how do you get to experience them? Like where
do I go to see them play?
Like how do you become aware of them?
A combination of like, because I went to school for a bit, you kind of get connected to all the different schools. So like I went to York, but I would say Humber and U of T are the better jazz schools in terms of program and talent.
Yeah.
But just going to York immediately kind of put me in like a community of like being aware of who these guys were.
Gotcha.
And every year there's so-and-so who's the best coming out of the school, or so-and-so who's the best going into the school.
Okay.
And that's every year you're getting a batch of those, new rookies and new graduating class. And out of that leads to, okay, well, what bands are they playing in? And then the more you do music, you start hearing about those bands and certain artists playing with certain musicians. And then that's how you kind of get into like just seeing the best always play with the best. So even if you haven't heard of someone, if they're playing with certain people, you can make a healthy assumption to how good they are.
The people are.
Like, you're a piano player, you're playing with Larnell Lewis, who's like a world-renowned drummer. It's like, I already know that I know that you could walk into a room, I could say, play this song for me right now, even if you don't know it, within a minute, you'd probably be able to figure it out. Or we could listen to it one time, you could probably play it. Like you've been playing it for 10 years kind of thing. Like, but that's, not everybody's cut from that cloth, there's even aspiring to be that standard. So that's why a lot of who you associate with and how you kind of approach it, I think, bleeds into it. So that's really how I try and find people. And then from there, I look at where they're playing, because the venues, are always changing and opening and closing. Like right now, there's this cool thing called Listening Room, where it's there's like a house band, but it's also an open format jam, so anybody can show up and play with the house band.
Oh yeah?
But the particular guidelines are, each jam is a different record that they choose, or like an era of an artist, and they listen to the records and then they perform them.
Oh yeah?
So they've done like Tribe Called Quest, they've done D'Angelo, they've done Erykah Badu. This past week they did Roy Hargrove. Like a lot of the Soulquarian stuff, like the Roots. So the idea is like, they're doing like a Roots tribute. They're not going to tell you what songs. They might release like a set list, like a few days before. But the idea is, if you're a Roots fan, or if you're already studying like their catalog, you probably know the music already, and then people are going to listen to it, and then they're going to jam on it. So it keeps that jazz improv essence, but then it's also like kind of paying homage to like R&B, neo soul, and all that. But people playing in those spaces are coming from different corners of like the jazz and R&B and gospel world. And then you start to see, I know so-and-so, they play with so-and-so, this guy here, like, I just saw you play, show up to the jam and play, you're really good, you went to U of T, of course you did, right? You just start connecting the dots of, did you go to school, did you not go to school? Okay, who are you playing with? Are you a working musician, or are you an artist? Because, the rules apply differently. Artist is more about having the skill set to bring their idea to life, whereas a working musician is more about having the skill set to bring someone else's idea to life. So their bag more often than not has to be much more versatile, because different artists want different things. But I don't know. And then the whole condo thing is just making these situations harder for the city because venues are constantly closing. But I don't know. We'll see where it all leads. But basically, I'm just stalking musicians constantly, stalking artists. If I'm on Instagram and I see you have like 4 to 10 people that I follow that I respect as an artist or a musician or a manager or something, and I see, oh, you're doing music, I'll like a few things, I'll check out your Spotify. If I like a song or if I connect with the thing, you know, okay, when are you performing next? Where do you perform? How have I never heard of you? Because Toronto's such a big city, so I'm always looking. Like old artists, young artists too, because that's the other thing. Like man, you'll find someone that you've never heard of that's been out here for 20 years, but they just went by a different name, or you weren't aware they were there the whole time. And you know, they have 30 of your best friends or their best friends. So it's kind of like, wait, did we already meet and not even realize it?
Right.
Like, oh man. And even sometimes you'll meet people like at their day job and not know they're an incredible, like, you know, musical talent.
Yeah.
Like I knew this one bartender. We just, you know, we're cool. But then he asked me to play some sax on some of his stuff, and I'm like, sure, I'll check it out. And the music was amazing, and I'm just like, you did not bring up you do music, any of the like, you know, just stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess I try to focus on the people as well, more so than like the good music usually follows good people more than anything. So.
So tonight, you perform for the live band?
I mean, to some extent. I imagine it'll be like a hybrid, like DJ, drummer, bass player, keyboard player, maybe a guitar player, but DJ will be carrying most of the heavy lifting as far as the tracks sounding the way they want them to sound. But actually, I can make it a crowd. Thank you, kindly.
Have a good time, man.
Yeah, man, good to see you.
All right.